On that note, I want to acknowledge and welcome to the studio Paul Hardy, Chief Innovation Officer at ServiceNow. And joining us also is Abhishek Kaushal, Global Director of HR Services at ASML. Deloitte and ServiceNow have been working with ASML on their employee and customer experience journey. Welcome, Paul and Abhishek, and welcome back, Daughter, who's going to be leading this question and answer. Daughter, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And welcome, Paul, and I hope we also get Abhishek connected.
Hi.
At least we have audio with
Okay.
Abhishek. Thank you very much.
Yes.
There you are. We see you also on screen.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Hey Abhishek, how are you?
Hey Paul, doing very good. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. I mean, thinking back, like even 1 or 2 years ago, this would not have really been deemed possible, would it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's on one point, I feel that it's a shame that I'm not able to attend it in person. And it was a last-minute cancellation that we had to do. But 2 years back, if we really zoom down, it was digital, and the implementation of digital technologies used to take years and years together. And now suddenly everything's fast-forwarded itself, and the art of possible suddenly seems to be happening.
Exactly. It has really put technology to the test, but I think it's a nice development. So thanks a lot for agreeing to participate like this, Abhishek. And welcome to you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the conference. How do you find it so far?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. It's fantastic to be in person, of course, and shame Abhishek couldn't be with us. But listen, I've been having a wander around, chatting to a few people, and there seems to be some really common themes.
Yeah.
First of all, organisations are really looking to protect and grow their business like nothing ever before. The second area is around this pursuit of ultimate productivity. How are they going to enable their people to be as productive as possible, but at the same time allowing them to love the jobs that they've got? And I know Abhishek's really keen on this subject. And then the third area is around, really, I hear all the time about, we used to look about managing risk, but it's now about how do we prioritise it. Risk is happening, right? It's happening in the workplace. But it's not just business risk and operational risk, it's actually now about human risk. It's about loyalty risk. It's about the continuation of your business. So some really interesting themes. Looking forward to the rest of the show.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're touching upon really cool areas here, and also the way that technology and humans interact. And Abhishek, we're also very keen to hear how you see this. I mean, now you are here because of technology, and we know that you have been working together with ServiceNow, using and deploying technology to create a better way of working, right? So, are you working towards true transformation, or are you trying to patch up some sort of spaghetti landscape? What's your view?
Yeah, Paul's touched upon it. I think it is a great question, and a lot of people within the businesses, whether it is HR folks, IT folks, business people, everybody's trying to struggle with the answer and trying to solve perhaps the same problem also. But maybe before I jump into that question, also is to give a background about ASML, and then where do we come in from, because then it brings in that context also. Everybody globally is talking about the shortage of chips, and it plays a very big important role in ensuring that technology moves forward. But the shortage of chips is also because is where ASML comes into picture, because we make the machines which end up making the chips. Rightly so, a lot of customers of ours are pushing us right, left, and center to make more machines, which is great from a business perspective, but it also means that we have to hire a lot of people. We have to take care of a lot of all of those people, which means that we have to do something which is radically different. And that's where digital comes into perspective also. For us, it's really the purpose of the organization also is about unlocking the potential of people by pushing technology to the new limits. And within functions, we've just added one more line, let's say, or one more word to it, unlocking the potential of our people by pushing technology to give better experience. So that's where I think we started doing certain things very fundamentally different rather than just doing the patch-up activities. We started looking at the whole IT landscape within the organization. How can we improve the IT landscape? And that's where we started partnering with Deloitte, Workday, as well as with ServiceNow for implementation of absolutely new technologies. But as we were implementing it, also looking at it from an employee lens, that how would employee want it? How will they like it? And whether it is helping them, yes or no. And it's then about simplifying the processes, simplifying the areas that they are working on to really give them a better experience, so that this stickability factor also starts happening, because the employee starts feeling that he is being taken care of. And then thus, not just a patchwork work, but really looking at it fundamentally differently.
And you mentioned experience as something really key, and we heard it also from previous speakers today. Experience is important, right? We don't talk about the tool, whatever we are implementing of software. We talk about experience. Right. Yeah, I mean, how do you see that, Paul?
Well, I mean, look at it in your everyday life.
Yeah.
You know, the experience that you have at home versus what you have at work, there's a big gap.
Yes.
And organisations are trying to reduce that gap by providing, as Abhishek said, you know, experiences that mean people don't have to go and find what they need.
Yeah.
That information is pushed to them based upon their persona or the job role, or maybe even their geographical location.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crucial. The other thing is, as well, we know and understand that the organisations have their strategic platforms. ServiceNow is merely sitting on top of those to provide that great experience, not just an experience, to ensure that they can go and find the information that they need when they need it, or of course it's pushed to them based upon the device that they're using. So really kind of taking a total shift away from the traditional kind of norm, and that's actually, and this is even more important of course with hybrid and adaptive working, is that you need to meet people where they are. Yeah. And you need to give people the tools that they need to do their job. And then equally, you need to automate all of the stuff that is routine, mundane, and error prone, so that they can continue doing the job that they love.
That's right. And I think, Abhishek, if I can just ask you a question, because one of the things that I'm always slightly annoyed about when I'm at work versus at home is that apparently I need lots of training and manuals and stuff to get my job done and improve my skills, while at home it's intuitive, right? It's kind of app-like. Do you think you can hit some sort of ambition in terms of being so intuitive with your new ways of working that we can skip training in the future?
Yeah, I think you've touched a good point. If we really look at it from a home environment, Facebooks, Instagrams, has anybody taught my 3-year-old daughter how to use it, or a 4-year-old daughter how to use an Instagram? The answer is a clear no, because they've made it so simple.
Yeah.
And that's also about, they've made it simple because they've looked at it from an employee experience perspective, that how to make it simple and not overcomplicate. Is it happening? Has it started happening now, let's say, within the businesses? Absolutely yes. In some areas where they have started looking at it radically different, for us also, it was a big ambition that how can we ensure that when we are implementing, and we are implementing new technologies in another 6 weeks from now, the trainings are yet to start for us, for the employees and the managers. And still we are in a confident or a comfortable zone, because I think we've tried to implement the systems, making it very simple. And if you make it simple, then it is that intuitiveness that people will start getting. Quite a number of my peers also that I talk with, the good part is that they've all started talking on the same things. That how can we make it more simple so that we take the entire training aspect out of it, and it also gives the experience back to the people.
Yeah. And giving time back to the user, is that a priority?
I think it's part of the priority. The priority really is, you know, and this stems all the way back to, Abhishek's talked about the growth of ASML, which is hugely important. Now, to grow at that pace, any organisation that I speak with, one of the challenges they've had is how do they attract and retain good people?
Yeah.
Now, part of that process is inevitably giving the right time or the right work-life balance, but it's also ensuring that they have the right tools to do their job, and it's that they continue not just doing, I had a conversation with a customer just last week, and it was about, we only know so much about that person when they join the organisation. What about all of the other skills that that person has got that we don't yet know? So rather than pigeonholing and siloing people like we have done in the past with departments and teams, this is really an opportunity to look at skills and activities that people could do, therefore opening up that kind of that landscape for them. So I think that's crucial, not only to attract good people, but to keep them loyal and retain those people too.
Keep them motivated. Yeah,
absolutely.
And Abhishek, what are your people thinking about all these new ways of working and tools that they will be taking into use?
Yeah, and the initial feedbacks also that we're getting from the people is very good, because it starts breaking away the silos that existed within the functions, within the companies. So that's a great one. And then people start liking it also, because then you give one platform, one way of working to the entire organization. And the Gen Ys and the Gen Zs, or the Gen Z plus, let's say, they like transparency and they like one way of communicating. So, and that really helps. And it is also a driving factor for them. One other thing also is maybe what we did differently is, rather than looking at quite a number of people end up doing it, is they start implementing technologies with productivity benefits at the very start. Is where they start, I think, going wrong, because then the employee lens is missed out. What we did differently was to really look, productivity is a byproduct. If we implement systems which people end up using, then technology will start helping in automating the processes, in simplifying the processes, and productivity benefits will keep on coming through. It's, as the organizations are growing, for us, we are growing almost at some 30-35% plus kind of a rate, which means more number of people. If I can support the organization with the same number or relatively lesser number of people, it's already productivity benefits that I would have passed back to the company. And thus, looking at it from an employee's lens, simplifying, breaking those silos is what people start liking.
I like to talk just a bit in our last few minutes about that kind of success. What does success look like for both of you, right? And for your collaboration, Abhishek and Paul. What does success look like? I mean, ASML is already a highly successful company. ServiceNow is also doing quite well. But when you meet in that space, what is it that you define as success in your collaboration?
So I think I'll start off by just saying, look at the partnership that we've got with Deloitte, ServiceNow and Deloitte. So GBS on now, what does that mean to us? Let's just kind of break that down into 3 steps. So the first one is the kind of the engagement layer, that unified ability to connect across departments. Abhishek has said breaking down the barriers between departments, hugely important. Then we need to act on that. So we need to look at how can we optimize. We talked about simplifying processes down. You get to a certain point where you can't simplify anything anymore, and you need to evolve, you need to change, you need to adapt. That brings in your ability to then work right across the organisation with a single golden thread that runs through that organisation. And then the most critical part is around the performance. How we maintain, what do we use around business insights? How do we continuously make those iterative changes so that we don't have any big bang approaches, we don't have to retrain the entire organisation? Yes. That is hugely important. So those kind of 3 mantras of the GBS on now run through every organisation that I speak to, even if they're not necessarily going to full GBS model, this year, and maybe working towards it for next year.
And Abhishek, how does that sound in your world?
Yeah, pretty much what Paul has said is the answer that I would have also given. But maybe just to add up one more thing. For us, the partnership is also about Deloitte and the ServiceNow teams coming back and pushing us as an organization also to think differently and to adopt to the new ways of working more and more. We've seen that examples happening already, but it's continuously pushing us, and improvising the deployments as we move forward. GBS, that's also the way that a lot of companies are really moving forward with. Some with independent shared services, some with integrated shared services. There's no one mantra for success, but that's where these partners start and the partnership starts helping us.
Thank you very much. I think I heard some quite good insight here in how you see things, and also good ambition. Again, we're very grateful for you, Abhishek, to join us the way you did, using latest of technology. And I think it's also really nice to see how the collaboration and the partnership between the two organizations here today, ASML and ServiceNow, is really, I think, bringing an extra like cream on top
Absolutely.
Of the cake here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks a lot, both
Thank
of you.
you.
Thank you.